Greetings to you and welcome to this episode of Grace Podcast. I'm Timothy Muse. I'll be your host as we spend this time together today. It's a joy to be with you. I want to thank you for tuning in. I want to thank you for making this podcast a part of your journey. And of course, I want to thank you for being on the journey. It is so awesome that you're here, that you're engaging this, that you're asking the questions, that you're digging into where your life could use some energy and some focus and some growth. It is truly a superpower to have the courage to look into ourselves and really ask those questions. It really, truly is, because most people aren't willing to do it. Most people are just happy with where they're at. They might know that there's something that needs to be addressed, but they're just happy with where they're at. They're happy with staying in the status quo. But you're not. You're here. You're at least asking the question. You're listening. You're gathering information. I'm so pleased to be able to offer something that maybe would be able to help, that maybe would be able to help you engage or grow in the midst of your time, in the midst of your walk. If this podcast is helpful, please share it out there. Put it out there on your social media feeds. I post on LinkedIn, X, Instagram, and Facebook. If you follow me or the life coaching on any one of these feeds, then you're going to see these episodes. Share them out there. Put them out there. Tag me in it. I'd love to see where you are. I'd love to see where you're listening from. If you're on one of the listening platforms, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or Amazon Music, then follow us, give us a rating and review. Every positive rating and review tells the platform people are listening, and you'll get a notification when a new episode comes out. And if you want to reach out to me, GraceLifeCoaching.com is the website. That's always where you can get a hold of me, GraceLifeCoaching.com. So I want to continue on in our process through the power of social media. And we're getting to a point of one of the most practical pieces that we can talk about in this power of social media. And that's digital discipline, building healthy boundaries in a world that never stops. Let's be honest. I want to begin with a good observation. Most people don't have a technology problem. Technology is a tool. It's not something that forces you. It's not a technology problem. It's a boundary problem. The phone isn't the problem. Social media isn't the problem. The problem is often that technology has no clearly defined places in people's lives. It follows us everywhere. It's in the bedroom. It's at family dinners, into conversations, into vacations, into worship services, into moments of rest, into moments of reflection, into nearly every waking hour. Because it's always available. Most people never truly disconnect. They never truly rest. They never truly recharge. Today we're going to talk about that. Why boundaries matter in this. The difference between discipline and restriction. How habits are formed. Habits are really important. Why digital discipline can create freedom. Practical strategies to create health of technology habits, and how to reclaim control of your time and your attention. So we can really dig into this. Look, discipline creates freedom. When people hear the word discipline, they often think limitations. Now, we did a big thing on discipline before, and I want to kind of layer that into this because, it's really important. Most people think of discipline as limitations, restrictions, rules, something unpleasant. But discipline actually creates freedom. Think about physical health. The discipline to exercise creates the freedom to move. The discipline to eat creates better health. The discipline to save money creates financial freedom. The discipline to practice a skill creates competence. Discipline is not punishment. It's training. The same principle applies to technology. Without discipline, technology controls us. With discipline, we control how technology serves us. The goal isn't less freedom. The goal is more intentional freedom. And that intentional freedom comes through discipline. It comes through discipline. What many people don't realize is how automatic this technology habit has become. Okay? Think about how often you check your phone when bored. Reach for it while you're waiting, standing in line for your coffee or standing in line at the bank. Look at notifications immediately. Scroll without a specific purpose. Open apps automatically. This is the habit of technology. Our brains have become so trained to when there's a moment of peace, we go to the phone. When there's a moment of uncomfort, we go to the phone. When we're bored, we go to the phone. When the phone dings, we immediately go to it. Okay, we get on the phone with no purpose. It's not like, I'm going to scroll to see if I can find some inspirational quotes today. No, I'm just going to scroll. I'm just going to get out there. Oh, I'm going to open that app automatically. I got nothing to do. I'm going to go to Instagram or Facebook or TikTok. Most of these behaviors happen without conscious thought. Why? Because habits are powerful. The brain loves efficiency. We've talked about this a lot. When a behavior is repeated enough times, it becomes automatic. Eventually, you no longer decide to do it. You simply do it, which saves a massive amount of energy for the brain. It's like, look, I've got 5 minutes and I need to figure out what to do with these 5 minutes. And the brain's like, do what we always do. Do what we always do because we want to be efficient. Get back into that habit because we always want to be efficient. You just simply do it. That's why many people unlock their phone dozens of times each day without knowing why. It's habit, not intention. And what begins as a choice eventually becomes routine. Okay? Now here's the good news in this. Habits can be changed, but first they must be noticed. I would encourage you to open up your phone. I know, right? We're talking about phones. Open up your phone and go into your settings because there is a setting that shows you how many times you open your phone, what apps you look at, how much time you're on your phone each day. Be intentional. Notice this. Start to notice when you open your phone, why you open your phone. Start to ask, why am I opening this thing up? Am I opening this thing up because I'm bored? Am I opening this thing up because I'm uncomfortable? Am I opening this thing up because I have a few extra minutes? Start to ask the question, why? Why am I opening this thing up? Why am I doing this in my life, in my time? Why am I spending my time doing this when I could be doing something else? Habits can be changed, but first they have to be noticed. Okay? And here's the thing, here's the myth about this habit. Here's the myth about the phone. I just have a few minutes. I'm just going to take a few minutes. Have you ever gotten into that point? Have you ever said, I'm just going to check something quickly and then 30 minutes disappear? Most of us have. Social media is designed to eliminate stopping points. Okay? That's the thing. It's designed to eliminate stopping points. There's no end to it. Television programs, they end. Okay, you get to the end of the television program, you roll the credits. Newspapers and magazines have a final page. Unless you want to go back and read it again, it has a final page. You read through it and it's finished. Books have chapters. And if you're going to, read and you want to take a break, you get to the end of the chapter, you put a bookmark in it and you move away. Social media often has no natural ending. The content keeps coming. Infinite scrolling means there's always another post, man, always another video, always another update, always another headline. The brain keeps expecting one more rewarding experience. And before long, time disappears. That's why intentionality matters. If you don't decide how long you're going to stay, the platform will decide for you. And the platforms are designed to keep you there. I want to say that again because I want it to sink in. If you don't decide how long you're going to stay, the platform will decide for you. And platforms are designed to keep you there. That's really, really important to understand. These platforms, they want your attention. They want you on the platform. So there will be no point where the platform will say, oh, hey, you've been on here a half hour. Maybe it's time to go take a walk or get a drink of water. No, the platform will just keep offering you more and more content so you stay longer and longer, which means you see more ads and you see more posts and you see more businesses. And these are all the things that the platform sells so that the platform comes to you for free. I mean, ask yourself, how has Meta become such a billion-dollar company when you can engage its product for free? Because other people pay for your attention. That's how it works. So if you don't decide how long you're going to stay, the platform will decide for you. And the platforms are designed to keep you on them. They're not designed to push you off. They don't stop, ever. Okay? And one of the big things about that is that we've come to a place in our lives where boredom is something to be run from. I mean, it might sound strange, but there's something that we really need to talk about, and that's boredom. Most people try to avoid boredom immediately. The moment that boredom appears, they reach for a screen immediately. The moment boredom appears, they reach for a screen. But boredom isn't necessarily a problem. In fact, boredom is important and can be extraordinarily useful. Boredom creates opportunities for creativity, for reflection, for problem solving, for imagination, for self-awareness. Some of the best ideas may arrive during quiet moments, like while you're walking or driving or sitting quietly or thinking. Think about this. You ever lay down in bed at night and you just turn the lights out and you put your head on the pillow and you remember the 5 things that you needed to do and you didn't do, or the things you need to pick up? I mean, I think we all experience that. As soon as we quiet our brain from all of the external stimulation, it starts to fire in other areas. Many people never allow moments like that to happen because every gap is filled with stimulation. Digital discipline includes relearning how to be alone with your thoughts. And that is becoming an increasingly rare skill in our world, to be alone with our thoughts, to just dwell. You know, I go to the gym, I see people with earbuds. I go out. I was out walking in the woods recently with my wife. We took a day trip and it was beautiful. And we were out in some really nice country, not big open country, but big enough to be out and enjoyable. And we walked by a lot of people. There was a lot of people out there and I saw many people with earbuds in their ears. You're in nature. You know, you're walking around this beautiful place in nature and they have earbuds in their ears, because they're probably listening to something or something is engaging them or stimulating them, okay? Not wanting to be alone with their thoughts. But look, our thoughts are there whether we're alone with them or not. So boredom, being able to be still with our thoughts and not fill every moment, every gap with stimulation. It's becoming increasingly rare, but boredom is an important thing in our lives and in our created world. And one of the ways that we do that, one of the ways that we engage in that is by setting boundaries. Oh, there's that word, boundaries. Talk about boundaries a lot, and boundaries always come across like discipline as negative and restrictive and terrible. But as I've said many times, boundaries are freeing. You know, what do healthy boundaries actually look like? You know, and they're important. That's an important question for you. What would be a healthy boundary in your technology use? And I've talked a little bit about this already, but it's important to keep going back through it again. You know, what about a morning boundary? Many people begin their day by immediately checking their phone. Before they think, before they pray, before they reflect, before they plan, before they even fully wake up. Instead, consider creating a phone-free morning routine. Even if 15 or 30 minutes can make a difference. Start your day intentionally rather than reactively. Look, the morning is the most important day for our brain and our intention because the morning sets our day. All right. If we set our day in peace, in balance, in boundary, if we set our time in quiet, then the day plays out that way. But if we immediately go into our day before our brain is fully waked up, there you go, woken up, and we're feeding it with rage or fear or what have you, then that's where our day is going to be. We set that early in the morning. Start your day intentionally rather than reactively. Set a time boundary. The first 30 minutes of the day, don't open your phone. For me, it's 60 minutes. I usually don't open my phone for the first hour of the day. I do other things. I do get information. I turn the news on. I watch it on TV while I'm making breakfast and lunches and stuff. But it's different. It's passive, and I can ignore it because my hands and my brain are doing other things. Set a morning boundary so that you're not just feeding your brain with reactive stuff first thing in the morning. Evening boundaries. Consider ending your day without social media. Create a digital sunset. Give your mind time to slow down before you go to sleep. A lot of people have sleep issues. I talk about this a lot. A lot of people that I talk with have sleep issues. And I find that one of the big difficulties with sleep issues is that people will lay in bed, scroll on their phone, look at all this content, turn their phone off, put it on the nightstand and go to sleep. Or try to go to sleep. And their body might be exhausted, but their brain is firing on all these different things. So maybe an evening boundary is important. Maybe a digital sunset. You know, at 9 o'clock, phone goes off. 10 o'clock, phone goes off, depending on what time you go to bed. An hour before you go to bed, turn the phone off. Create that digital sunset. Give your mind time to process what it's done for the day and slow down before you sleep. Mealtime boundaries. Mealtime provides opportunities for connection, so protect them. Put devices away. Be present. Be present while you eat. Be present with the people. And if you're eating alone, be present with your food. You know, don't use alone mealtime as a time to just scroll while you're stuffing food in your gullet. Be present with your food. Be present in the moment. And relationship boundaries. Give people your full attention, not half your attention. Relationships grow when attention flows. And it's really, really disconcerting, and it's really, really hard to have a relationship when you're trying to talk to someone while they're on their phone. Or their phone keeps interrupting the conversation. Create relational boundaries. Boundaries can be so freeing. Boundaries can really allow us to dig into what we want to dig into. And, you know, when we create boundaries, one of the easiest ways to improve those boundaries, hold those boundaries, and improve our habits is to change your environment. Change your environment. You know, environmental change is a great way to set boundaries and continue to build better habits. Look, if your phone sits beside your bed, you're probably going to check it. If notifications constantly appear, you're probably going to react to them. If apps are easily accessible, you're probably going to use them more often. Behavior is influenced by environment. That's why small changes can improve and produce significant results. So turn off unnecessary notifications. Remove distracting apps from your home screen. Make it harder to find them. Charge your phone in another room. Create phone-free spaces. Use app timers. There are app timers on your phone. You can get them. You don't always need more willpower. Sometimes you just need a better environment. Sometimes you just need to craft a space that allows you to be out of that. It's like, you know what? No phones in the bedroom. No phone while I'm laying in bed. I charge my phone on the dresser. I charge my phone in the other room. Now, one of the challenges or things that I've had to come to deal with in my own life is I'm not on call. I'm not a doctor, but I'm a pretty much 24/7 guy. Things happen in the middle of the night, and though it doesn't happen a lot, I do need to be reached in the middle of the night sometimes. So that is the primary form of access to me. So my phone does charge next to my bed, but I have created that space within myself. Okay. So creating environment that will help you hold on to your boundaries, okay? Because digital discipline ultimately comes down to priorities. Every yes to something is also a no to something else. An hour spent scrolling is an hour not spent reading or learning or exercising or connecting or creating or reflecting or resting. So every yes to something is a no to something else. Now, this isn't about guilt. I don't want you to be like, oh, I should be reading more. I've got a stack of books. Look at me. I've got a beer belly. Oh, I really haven't created anything. All these. No, this is not about guilt. This is about awareness. It's about awareness. It's about becoming aware of how this technology affects you. All right. Time is one of our most valuable resources. It's probably the most valuable resource. It's really the only resource we can't make more of. We can make more money, we can make more friends, we can make more opportunities, but we can't make more time. Everybody gets the same. The question is, does your use of technology align with your values? If someone examined your screen time habits, would they understand what matters most to you? That's an important question. I think you should reflect on it. Because our habits often reveal our priorities more honestly than our intentions do. If we intend to be more productive, but then wind up spending hours on the phone, our intentions could be great, but our habits reveal our true purpose, our true value. So what matters most? What matters most? Because every yes to something is also a no to something else. Okay? So when you scroll, you're saying yes to the content, but you're also saying no to something else. What values most? And one of the things that most people make is try to do extreme solutions. Okay, extreme solutions. Now that's often led by guilt. Look at me. I'm wasting all this time on my phone every day. And that leads to guilt, and guilt leads to extreme solutions. I'll delete everything. I'll never use social media again. I'll quit all technology. And sometimes things like that are appropriate. Sometimes there might be places of appropriateness for that. But for most people, the better goal is sustainability. You don't want to quit everything just cold turkey, because then it's going to create an imbalance that is going to drive you deeper. We see it in food product. People will go on diets and they'll lose a lot of weight, but the diet's unsustainable. So then ultimately they break the diet, and not only do they gain the weight back, but they gain more weight. You're not looking for extreme solutions. You're looking for balance and intentionality. You don't need perfection. You need awareness. You need boundaries. You need discipline. You need a relationship with technology that supports your life rather than controls it. And that's the goal. Not escape, not fear, not guilt. Healthy stewardship of your attention and time. And that's where balance comes with boundaries and discipline. Okay? That's where balance comes with boundaries and discipline, because that's what you're looking for. I'm not saying do away with social media. Social media is great. It's got a lot of great stuff out there. I've been watching a number of videos now of panda bears and how ridiculously funny they are, because it gives me enjoyment. It helps me to laugh. I wouldn't want to cut that out, but I don't want to spend 8 hours brain rotting on pandas falling out of trees, though that would be kind of fun from time to time. It's about creating healthy balance, sustainability, intentionality. Creating healthy habits that can last into the future. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for the long-term benefit here, not just the short-term fix. Boundaries are not barriers to freedom. They're pathways to freedom. Remember that. Every meaningful area of life benefits from healthy limits. from health to finance to relationships to work and technology. The question isn't whether social media belongs in your life. The question is whether it occupies its proper place. Because when technology stays in its proper place, it becomes a useful tool. When it takes over, it becomes a distraction from what matters most. And only you can decide where those boundaries belong. Only you can decide where those boundaries belong. Look, remember I've said, a hammer can build a house and a hammer can tear a house down, right? Well, a hammer is not a good thing to use when you're trying to eat a steak. So that tool doesn't belong at the dinner table. So the question is, the tool of social media, where does it belong in your life? Okay? Where does it occupy? Is it occupying the proper place or not? So here's your challenge. Here's what I'd like to challenge you to do maybe over the next couple of days. Create one digital boundary and keep it. No phones during meals. No social media after 9 a.m. or after 9 p.m. or before 9 a.m. No phones, that have unnecessary notifications. 1 hour of phone-free time daily. Choose one. Keep it simple. Simple helps us to grow. We don't need big, massive change. We need simple change that is consistent over time. And notice what changes. Notice what changes in your brain. Notice what changes in your life. You know what? If you have a little bit of time each day that you spend with your spouse, they'll spend that time without your phone. Spend that time one-on-one. Even if you don't have anything to talk about, just sit and dwell in each other's presence. Okay? Create one digital boundary and keep it. And see how that makes you feel. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. That's what I have for you for today. If this episode is helpful, please share it out there. Put it out there on your social media feeds. I post on LinkedIn, X, Instagram, and Facebook. If you're on one of the listening platforms, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or Amazon Music, then follow us, give us a rating and review. And as always, if you want to reach out to me, GraceLifeCoaching.com is the website. At Grace Life Coaching, we want you to be the best you.